Hey guys, welcome back with another video of Linksi. Today we're gonna get access to Rakarth and we're gonna see the early game guide that I came up with for this character. The game guide is going to mostly focus on explaining the mechanics and what I would suggest to do on a start. You need to stabilize yourself as normal and set yourself up for success later on in the campaign. This is barely a rudimentary guide, it's not an in-depth guide. However, I hope it will help you guys learn and understand the strengths, the weaknesses, and what Rakarth and his faction can do. He does have some unique mechanics, as we've seen already, mostly being able to capture beasts and recruit them on the go, being able to gain replenishment outside of friendly territory, and of course, above all else, to be raiding and not be tired as they're going forward. Using these mechanics and some little cheese and abuse, we're gonna make sure that we're in a good position to make it happen. Firstly, we need to start off on the island of Albion, which is of course Norse territory, hence why it's going to be quite unsuitable for our ideals. The main thing that we're going to look forward to do is to go down south and start beating Corone, taking the lands there and prepare to raid and raise Aldorf. The reason for this is if you let Aldorf and Corone grow too strong, they will be potential enemies later down the line that you don't want to deal with, or they could drag the High Elves into war with you when you're not ready. Above and beyond this, the fact that you could go raid Norska for feral mammoths. Feral mammoths cost a lot of gold and not worth it, and Norska is not the most hospitable of places. Or do you prefer the cold, wintering bleh of Norska, or else going down south and enjoying some green grass? Keep in mind this is green territory for you, so you're gonna be really enjoying it. Plus Corone is usually getting beaten up by Marienbeck early in the game, so you're gonna have a good time. So let's just get started. So first thing you want to do is start with a little bit of cheese. We're going to get this settlement on turn 1, and this is really important to do so by using a little bit of the movement bug. You'll be happy to know that the movement bug is still in the game, so we are able to come here, out-resolve this fight without losing that many troops. Keep in mind all we want is Rakarth, the Shades, the War Hydra and the Reaper Bolt Thrower. Get your slaves and get ready to march in on Kotkwa. The reason that we use the mage as a way to come over here, because we really want to capture the settlement on turn 1 by raising and sacking it. You should be able to come close enough to the settlement but not actually get the mage in with the army. That is absolutely fine. If you move her in a specific manner, you might be able to, but that is of course not always possible, as you need to be pixel perfect. Anyway, loot and occupy the first settlement and you can possibly get your first feral mammoth from this. Now understand, every time you loot, as you can see, and by capturing a Norse settlement, it's not necessarily just by capturing, you can also get it by sacking it. However, this does not always work, and it's only guaranteed for the first settlement, as it recommends that you hire the feral mammoth. I do not recommend so. Get your first point in Root Martyr, second point in Red Slaver for Rakarth. With regards to recruitment, you're going to be able to recruit 1 Black Ark Corsair, and then you're going to focus all your money in building the following. First, you're going to build yourself, where is it? Really, there you go. Den of Outlaws for the Shades. Sorry, I kind of missed it over there. Secondly, you want to spend the rest of your money upgrading that building. If you have any money left, simply fix the following 2 buildings, and that should be all of your money. Get ready to move in on the Citadel of Lad for next turn with the recruitment of 1 singular unit of Black Ark Corsairs. You should be absolutely fine. With regards to research, go to continuous slave supply and you're gonna be on set for the next couple of turns. As you can see, it will take 14 turns to get there, and that will give you the juicy gains for slaves that you want. This is where you end the turn. Now, on turn 2, you're gonna get 2 quests. One of them is for the Whip of Agony, but most importantly, the second one is to confederate Korath Kar. This confederation will happen if you capture 2,500 slaves. These 2,500 slaves, battle captives, you could call them, are very important, as it will allow you to confederate a very nice and very strong settlement region that will put you in close proximity with other Dark Elves, and also give you, in my opinion, one of the best regions for slave ownership in the entire Dark Elves possible landmark locations. Rakarth itself, which is the city of slaves after all. This, you have 30 turns to be able to do so. However, keep in mind you're competing with the Kraken Lord on this one. If you are competing with the Kraken Lord, you're going to, of course, have the opportunity of losing it to him. So make sure that you're doing it on the right amount of time. I haven't tested it yet, but I'm assuming that if he captures it before you, it will happen. And it can happen. This said, move into this region and get yourself in raiding formation. You want to raid as much as possible, as raiding will give you money and slaves, as well as there's no reason not to. You could use your mage to move and attack Citadel of Lead, but you want your mage to actually have the experience necessary to get the following. This is a base Sorceress of Beasts. It has nothing special. You might get a special trait. However, for those who don't know, Beast magic is one of my favorite because of the Flock of Doom being so easily cheesable. For those who don't know, link in the description below. I will explain exactly how to cast infinite magic, but infinite Flock of Dooms is going to be the bane of the existence of any old world faction that tries to defy you. Flock of Doom and Ember Spear are the points you want to go for, and of course 1 point in Wild Heart for that extra juicy power reserves that you will need. Why is Flock of Doom so easily spammable? Well, you have to check out the video, won't you? But essentially you can spam it for free with no cooldown at all, allowing yourself to do massive damage. I have killed over 300,000 points worth of damage on orcs, 3,000 actually orcs for 300,000 points, which is absolutely crazy. Again, this is a cheese, this is really disgusting, this is not for everyone, but if you're that kind of person, please feel free to abuse of this mechanic. That said, we're just gonna wait there for the end of this turn. You will be able to unlock this if you get enough slaves next turn. Another factor to note is whenever you're raiding, you're going to be able to capture certain units and certain monsters from specific regions. For example, these giant wolves I find to be incredibly powerful because they have super fast speed and they do quite decent damage. They're a 95 speed unit at the start of the campaign, and especially if you're going to follow my suggestion and going to fight against Corone and or of course the Empire, their archers and peasant archers are going to be incredibly weak to those wolves, which will tear through them in seconds. That said, run into the Citadel of Lead and assault it. You can of course fight this, but I just recommend do outer assault. You're gonna lose of course your primary units, which are your bleak swords and dry spears, but as you all know, I do not approve of these units. They are not really that worth it, especially when you can and you should really be aiming at getting more slaves. Now, loot and occupy this settlement, or if you want, of course, you can use it as a sack city, allowing yourself to level up a little bit. I would not recommend this, as you will have more than ample enemies to fight. Recruit yourself 3 shades in this situation and prepare yourself for your first rebellion occurring at Conqua, which I am very sure I'm pronouncing very, very wrong. Keep in mind, capturing, sacking and looting a settlement will give you opportunities to get different drops. In this case, we have of course the drop, as you can see, from Recruit from Monster Pens of 1 Feral Mammoth, 2 Giant Wolves and 2 Harpies, as well as 2 Giant Wolves from raiding. You can of course get, as well as that, Black Dragon, Carabis, War Hydra, Carnosaurs, which are fantastic, Bloodrock Reducers, which I do like, Stegodons, fantastic, sadly they're not the Stegodons that can create a Doomstag, Feral Manticores, Feral Cold Ones, and Explosive Squeakies. They go boom boom. If you have enough money left, do build Dark Elf Manors, because that's going to be really useful. You could spend money building these monsters, but I do recommend just keep the money for now. It's not worth it, and it's more worth building having the buildings of shades. With regards to the faction commandment, the region commandment, go for increased slave production quotas. That's going to really help you overall, and generally that's great. Finally, you want to perform the right sacrifice to Matlan. It will cost you pretty much all of your slaves, but you will be able to access a Black Ark. Now, you can do it on this turn or you can do it on next turn. Keep in mind you're going to go down quite a few slaves. I do recommend doing it on this turn as to allow you to have a Black Ark early on, but as you will see, the tanking of your income will be significant, especially since you will want to recruit it instantly. Why is a Black Ark important for the faction Thousand Maws? Well, the Black Ark is amazing as always for a variety of reasons. It allows you to recruit units. The Dark Elves do not have global recruitment. It allows you to do bombardments on specific areas, as seen by these, where you get Sky Cauldron, the Soul Rain, and Kane's Lash. This is, of course, if you're completely new to Warhammer and have never played Dark Elves. This is your first time playing Dark Elves. To be honest, it's not one of the worst starting campaigns. The reason why you want this is it will help you immensely with regards to movement speed on the water once you're going down, as well provide you support down this way. You're going to want to instantly demolish that building, as it's not going to provide you much. You don't really want Black Ark Corsairs. You can recruit Red Spears from here, and Black Ark Corsairs aren't great. You could bring it up here to get Dark Shards and of course eventually Purple Throwers, and I would recommend building it, but the building that you truly want on this is of course the Den of Outlaws, which you will get at 4 population surplus. You do not want to spend the population surplus on that, rather first build up the Gargantuan Black Ark. That will give you an incredible amount of Black Ark growth and horde capacity, plus up reduction upkeep for all units in the army. That is the Black Ark. Finally, the last benefit of the Black Ark is it does not cost you extra money. In the sense, you do not have to pay, of course, supply lines for the army. So if you're playing on Legendary, especially, it is an incredible way of having another army protecting your coastlines, as the Dark Elves do love to see. With regards to buildings, fix the last building and just get ready to deal with the rebellion. Now, that said, the rebellion will attack your settlement. However, they will not do anything other than siege the settlement and stay outside. Your settlement does have walls, which is really, really important, because usually the settlement over here does not. You're gonna upgrade the first time and you're gonna rush to the region. Now, you have two options over here. You could move it over there and use the lucky just auto-resolving, or else waiting a turn and attacking. I would recommend just auto-resolving this. It will not cost you much. Now, you can either get money or slaves. What do? We always get slaves. This is the Dark Elf way. And finally, you do also recruit 3 slaves. Shades, if you can afford. In this case, it seems we cannot. That is based on the RNG and luck that you get from, of course, getting the fight, the post-battle funds. You could also opt not have to have fixed this Dark Elf settlement, but I do recommend it as it makes sure that you have positive public order here. There is of course corruption, as you can see, with regards to public order, but the corruption is going down to 0 due to the abilities of both the heroes and of course the capital here. Now that you've done this, this is turn 4. You are going to give yourself the Emperor Spear on the Sorceress of Beasts, and you're going to just chill. I would not recommend cancelling any of the buildings from this, and on this one, make sure that he is on Dread Expansion, so he does destroy the Corsair cabins. On turn 5, you get issued the quest to raise or sack Aldorf, which I will do in a separate video. I am aiming to do it in as short as a time as possible, and I will produce that later on. However, for today, I will bid you farewell. I have given you a guide which is very simple and basic in its scope. The scope is to give you acquaintance with Rakarth and let you explore him by yourself from a relatively strong start. At the start, in 5 turns, we have fought and captured 2 cities. We have built them up. We have built a secondary army, which we will start constructing shortly. This secondary army will act as a support mechanism and explaining what the black arks do, because not many people actually know what they do and what they're used for. Making sure that you have a strong army of shades, and these shades will be incredibly important because they act twofold. They are units that have incredibly powerful armor piercing. They have stock, meaning they do not get seen by the enemy, and above all else, they also have decent melee stats, which is quite a unique flexible unit that is available to the Dark Elves. Usually a Doomstack would be shades and of course some Reaper Bolt Throwers or Hydras. In this case you have shades, you have a War Hydra, and you have Reaper Bolt Throwers. The reason I do include Black Ark Corsairs, even though I do not like them personally, they have been improved drastically, and especially with these Dispatch, Lockyer Felheart and Black Ark Corsairs are incredibly powerful. That I will cover in a separate video and have a discussion about the usability of them. Not a big fan of Black Ark Corsairs as always, because of their short range, with only 70 compared to 130 with the shades. Keep in mind that most units have a longer range than 130, usually ranging in 160 to 180. That said, the shades being able to shoot while moving is fantastic. They do have the ability of stalk, and they have mercenary prowess. Wait, they do not have the ability to shoot while moving? I was pretty sure they had. Apparently not anymore, no. Or I'm mixing them up with another unit. Nonetheless, they're still very powerful units as they can move without being seen. Finally, I was pretty certain they shot while moving. I'm mixing things up. It doesn't matter. It is 4 a.m. and I am very tired. I will be editing this video later on today when I wake up. That said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you find this useful. If you do have any comments or questions or queries, please ask down below and I'll do my best to answer them. Keep in mind, I will be publishing a full 10-15 turn guide later on. This is simply an introduction video to what Rakarth can offer, and simply a guide on towards newer players what they can do. This is done on Legendary to simply, again, to show the possibility of doing this on the hardest difficulty without having to fight a single battle, putting yourself in a good position, if not a very great position. Keep in mind that there are other cheeses you could use apart from the very small movement cheese, which I will link down below, the magic cheese, which will also link down below to my other videos, which are still viable in this patch. Ladies and gentlemen, have a lovely day, and I shall see you tomorrow with more videos. Bye bye and take care.